Good evening, I'm Stephanie Mills. Welcome to Ask the Specialists. Tonight, we ask the job specialists on CMU Public Television. Hello and welcome back. Before we begin tonight's program, I want to welcome our guests. We're joined tonight by Kelly Nicholas with Michigan Works. Kelly, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Real quick, Kelly, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'm officially the grant writer and marketing coordinator for Region 7B Michigan Works. So we actually are in charge of services for workforce development as well as economic development in 6 counties. Those are Aranac, Clare, Gladwin, Iosco, Ogama, and Roscommon areas.
Awesome. Thank you for being here,
Thank you.
Kelly. And also joining us this evening, we have LeAnn Hertzler, who is with the Unemployment Insurance Agency. Thanks so much for being here, LeAnn.
Thank you.
Also, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about what you do?
Yes, I work for the Unemployment Agency for 11 years now, and I've had a lot of different roles with the agency, including attending administrative hearings, working in our call center, working documents, and also reviewing issues that need adjudication.
Awesome. And great. Thanks so much for being here again. Now, for you at home, if you have a question tonight for our experts, we have a couple different ways for you to get that to us. You can call the 1-800 number seen right there on the bottom of your screen. It's 1-800-727-9268. You can also post a question to our Facebook wall at Ask the Specialist, or you can tweet us a question at WCMU_AskThe. Now, we want to start off with maybe some common questions that people that aren't so familiar with Michigan Works. Kelly, what kind of services does Michigan Works provide for job seekers?
Well, we actually provide services for job seekers and also the employers. If we have happy, healthy employers, we'll have them places for the job seekers to go. Michigan Works, we do a wide range of different services. We actually provide economic development services in 4 of our counties. Well, we actually do EDC functions as well as workforce development. We actually have a charter school that operates out of our Tawas office. We have 50 different students involved with that. We do some educational GED prep over in our West Branch office, as well as in our Clare office. We've been doing that for several years now, and we actually help 35 people or so graduate with GEDs. We're a GED testing site now in 6 of our offices. So we do a wide range of different things. We have a business services team, and those team members actually go out to businesses and do business consulting. You know, how to make their business grow, or what kind of services can they do again to if they're having some problems again with maybe employee retention or recruitment. On the job seeker end, we help people of all different ages and backgrounds transition into employment, whether that's your very first job out of high school or if you've been in the market for a while and you're looking for something different. Sometimes we offer some training opportunities for some folks as well. So people can come in and attend free workshops on resume writing. Now I've been laid off again. I've worked for a place for XYZ for a long time. Now what do I do? So we have trained staff in our resource rooms to assist people again to find out what their next step is, whether that's training, whether that's starting their own business, whether that's transitioning to some kind of employment. And sometimes there's business incentives on the job training or incumbent worker training that might be able to help a job seeker or an employer.
So lots of services for both job seekers and employers
as well.
Awesome. Cool. LeAnn, let's start with maybe some common questions that you get asked. Like, what is the easiest way to file an unemployment claim?
The easiest way to file a claim for unemployment benefits would be to go to our website, www.michigan.gov/UIA, and select the option to file a claim. From there, you'll want to have a couple of key pieces of information. You want to have your driver's license or your state ID, your social security number, and if you're not a citizen of the U.S., you would also want to have your alien registration ID number and also the expiration date. You would also need information about employers that you've worked for in the prior 18-month period, including first and last days worked, quarterly earnings, that sort of thing. So That would be the easiest way. You can also file a claim through our toll-free telephone number, which is 1-866-500-0017.
Great. We have our first question. This is from a viewer in Shelby Township. They want to know, how is unemployment getting approved for federal extensions?
Well, there currently are some things being reviewed by the legislature where there may possibly be federal extension or emergency unemployment compensation approved sometime this year. We just don't know whether it will be or not. If it is reinstated at any point in this year, we will notify everyone who is eligible 3 different ways. First of all, it'll be on our website, www.michigan.gov/UIA. Eligible claimants will also get notified if they have an online web account, a MyWAM account. They will see a notice there. In addition, we would be mailing claimants information regarding the federal extension if it is reinstated.
Okay, thank you. We have a question coming in from Twitter this evening. The question is a veteran with a non-service related disability that limits my ability to work, what are your suggestions on how to get a job?
I think maybe, Kelly, would you be better able to answer that than me?
Well, a couple different suggestions. I think I probably would have that person meet with one of our staff members and get a good listing of all the different skills this person has. And I think they may be surprised if they start writing down what skills might transfer from a past experience again to something that they may want to do. There's some testing they could do, interest testing, to find out where they're interested in, what their skills are, and they can meet with staff as well. There's also an agency called Michigan Rehab Services, which actually have staff in the Michigan Works offices, and they help assist job seekers with physical and mental impairments, again, that may be a hardship, again, for them to maintain or find employment. So they can attend an orientation session with Michigan Rehab Services as well.
Cool. All right, caller from Vienna. Say they work 10-hour days, 4 days a week, if not working one day because no work is available. Can he draw unemployment?
It sounds like the person is working 4 10-hour days, which in most industries would be considered full-time. So probably not, because you cannot draw unemployment benefits if you're working full-time. And I do believe most employers would consider 40 hours to be full-time.
Okay, awesome. All right. Kelly, how does Michigan Works help employers land qualified job seekers?
Well, sometimes employers can come to Michigan Works office and become Employer of the Day, or where they can do a mini job fair for them. Our business services team, again, collects resumes on their behalf. Employers can also put their job opening again on the Michigan Connect system. And if they want to click a little button, those people that are job seekers who have a resume right on the system can push a button as well, and they can apply directly to them through the email system. So that oftentimes the business services team member will sit down with the employer, help them write a job description, a job opening, and then try to fill it that way.
Okay, great. LeAnn, when is the best time to call Marvin?
Well, you can certify for your unemployment payments through Marvin bi-weekly. The best time to call is during your hour window. So everyone has a designated hour window in which they are supposed to call Marvin. If they happen to miss their hour window, those hour windows are always scheduled Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of the week. If they happen to miss that window, they also could call on the makeup days for calling Marvin, which are Thursday and Friday, all day, anytime that Marvin is available, beginning at 8 a.m. and ending at 7 p.m. And claimants can also certify online through their MyWAM account as well.
Okay, awesome. Kelly, do you have any tips for people who are working on their resumes? What are some great standout tips? What are some great tips to help make their resume stand out from others?
Well, the average employer will just scan the resume through looking for right buzzwords. So if you're applying for a certain job opening that you read about, make sure that those key words are listed in the ad or on your resume and on your cover letter. We also tell people to read their resume backwards. So what I mean by that is, it sounds kind of odd, but read it again from your most oldest position again to your most recent position. Are there red flags that pop up? Does it show you're a job hopper? Does it show that you've been promoted? Does it show extra responsibilities or extra job duties? Because those are some red flags that you may want to have answers for if you get asked.
Okay, awesome. Caller from Gaylord wants to know about unemployment. What would be a justifiable reason to relocate and get qualified to receive the benefits?
Well, it sounds perhaps this claimant is considering voluntarily resigning from a position to move. And typically speaking, when you resign for personal reasons, that it is a disqualifying separation from unemployment benefits. However, there are circumstances where if the employer moves the business and relocates, and that's beyond a reasonable distance for a person to travel, where that can be considered good cause for voluntarily resigning. But it would have to be reviewed, as any voluntary resignation would have to be reviewed, and eligibility would need to be determined.
Okay, okay, thank you. We have another question from Twitter this evening. They want to know, does Michigan Works still have the tool chest program to help skilled workers with getting the right tools?
Depends on if they qualify for one of our myriad of programs that we have. Sometimes training programs and other programs that we have a tool component for supportive services. So they'd have to meet with the case manager and see what kind of programs they may be eligible for.
Okay. Let's see, we have a caller from Flint. The question is, can the Department of Defense / Department of Agriculture get involved in assisting urban areas, Flint, Detroit, for raised bed gardening or rooftop gardening?
Boy, I'm not sure about that. Are you, Kelly?
Can you say the question again?
Can the Department of Defense / Department of Agriculture get involved in assisting urban areas like Flint and Detroit for raised bed gardening or rooftop gardening?
That would probably be a USDA question. I mean, right now, especially urban gardening, if you go down into the Detroit area by Eastern Market, again, they're doing an awful lot more gardening things. For example, Michigan Works, Northern Transformation, which is our 501c3 affiliated with us, received a grant again to explore food hubs in Northeast Michigan. So sometimes, again, there may be some money or some assistance for that. I probably would contact the USDA.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we have another caller from Flint. They want to know, they worked 22 months, ran out of unemployment. Any extensions in the future?
There may be extensions that are approved in the future, but at this point, at the agency, we have no verification that anything has currently been approved for 2014. You would just want to continue to look on our website and find out if anything's been approved. Also, it'll be on your local news as well.
Sure, okay. Let's see, caller from Everett, monthly record of work search, what does that accomplish?
Well, the monthly record of work search is a requirement for anyone drawing a claim that is filed, which the claim began after January 6th of 2013. Also, it was a requirement for anyone drawing on the federal extension. It's just a change in the law, and so it wasn't something that was required to do 2 work searches per week prior to the beginning of 2013, but it is a requirement now, and you do want to make sure that you have your work searches completed 2 per week. You can fax or mail your work searches in. If you certify online, you can certify your work searches along with your biweekly certification questions.
Okay.
And it is just a legal requirement.
Sure, okay, all right. We have a caller from Rochester, high school student, employed for 1 year, age 17 to 18, do they qualify for unemployment?
Okay, you're talking about
Boy, I would have to double check on that. I'm not sure. If they want to call back and give their number, I'll double check on that and give them a call tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see. LeAnn, another question. When you retire, can you still get unemployment?
It's possible that you could receive unemployment after retiring. What we look for is anytime someone does retire and file a claim for unemployment benefits, the first thing we look for is the employer that the claimant retired from in the benefit year of the claim or the base period of the claim. So for example, if someone retired from Dow Chemical Corporation and they were drawing a pension from Dow Chemical, however, they didn't file for unemployment benefits right away. Then they went back to work for Dow Corning. They worked for 2 years, then they filed their claim for unemployment benefits. The employer that's paying the pension wouldn't be in the base period of the claim because it was so long ago. So therefore, it would not affect. But if that employer that you're receiving retirement benefits from is being charged for your unemployment benefits, then it could, and it could reduce you partially or totally from receiving unemployment benefits depending on the amount of that monthly pension.
Okay. We have a caller from Maple Rapids. They want to know, does overtime pay ever click in for 24-hour shifts over 8-hour day?
I believe that would depend upon your employer's, maybe their union rules or the employer rules for overtime. I think it varies by employer, I would say.
Okay, all right. A caller from Farwell wants to know, can you quit a job and collect unemployment?
It just varies. Anytime that you resign from a position, you're certainly eligible to file for a claim and to advise us of that voluntary resignation. At that time, we would do some fact-finding with you and also with your former employer, and we would find out if the reasons for the voluntary resignation are such that under unemployment law, we can allow payment. And so what we have to do is just review it, verify whether or not it meets the criteria for you to be paid. And so I would suggest if you do that, you would file. You can also go on our website, though, and there is an area you can click on advocacy on our website, and you can get to review pages regarding different types of separations, and voluntary leaving is one of those. So you could go read that tip sheet and get more information regarding voluntary leaving, and specifically what reason that you're considering quitting for.
Okay, okay. We have a caller from Detroit. They want to know, if a person worked for 20 to 30 years and only receiving unemployment once in their life, is there any period of time they claim their money? If not, what happens to this money?
Well, actually, the requirements for drawing unemployment benefits aren't really based upon how long you were employed. What we look at is when you file your claim, we look at the quarter in which you file, and then we go back and we look at the prior 5 completed quarters. And so within those quarters, you would have to meet our minimum criteria, which would be to have wages of at least $2,871 in one quarter, and at least half of that amount in a second quarter to qualify for a claim. Now, all the other months prior that you worked for the other 18 years, if you never needed them, I guess that would just be a good thing, that you were never unemployed. But we only look back at the last 18 months.
Okay. All right, we have a caller from Boyne City. Why do workers need to state they're looking for work even if their employer has a return to work date?
All right.
Well, once again, that's just a change in the unemployment law that occurred with all new benefit years, beginning with January 6, 2013. And it's just a new requirement that you do need to seek work. One of the ways that you can seek work is by keeping in contact with your employer that you believe you are returning back to work from, back to work to. And sometimes it can also be a good thing. I'm sure Kelly can appreciate this, because if you are seeking work, who knows, maybe you can find a better job out there. Maybe Kelly can help you with that.
Well, again, the person may have some extra skills that maybe are not being used by the current employer, that, you know, while during this layoff, they can look to figure what else is out there.
Sure, okay. Interesting question from Saginaw. Can tattoos ever disqualify someone who's applying for a job? Is it discrimination or protected legally as personal freedom?
Thank you for calling us, a specialist on WCMU.
Well,
Please have your question.
It sounds like maybe, I'm guessing that this individual has maybe been terminated for having a tattoo. And in that situation, if that's what happened, we would just have to review both statements from both the unemployed worker and the employer and find out, a couple different things. Did the employer have a rule against tattoos? Was there a rule that you cover it? What were the reasons that the employer had these rules? Did the unemployed worker follow the rules? And so we would look at some of those types of things to try to make a determination on whether or not this individual would be eligible based upon that separation.
Sure, okay. Caller from Claire. After you quit, how soon does the employer have to give last paycheck/vacation pay? I don't know if that's more of a question for like an employer.
I guess if they're eligible for it, that would be up to the employer again to be able to do that.
Okay.
And what their policy says, if they're eligible again to receive the payment in lieu of the vacation time, or if it's against the company policy again. So that would be up to them. Okay. Usually there's some kind of employee handbook that would list all that.
Okay, all right. And one more time for you at home, if you're thinking about calling with a question, we have that number still on the screen for you. It's 1-800-727-9268, and we should be able to help you out here. We have another caller from Flint. They want to know, are employers encouraged to clean up pollution in urban areas? Are there incentives or tax breaks?
Maybe into brownfield remediation, maybe through the EPA, they could do that. I guess if they're an employer, I probably would have them contact their closest Michigan Works office and ask to talk to the business service team member, because those people, again, are throughout the entire state. They've gone through extensive training, again, to be a BSP, and I think they would have the connections for them, again, for that employer.
Another caller from Everett. If seasonal workers off for the winter, how to fill out monthly record of work search if their employer has a return to work date?
To complete the record of work search, once again, if you certify online, you can complete that at the time that you're certifying online. Otherwise, you can fill out the work search monthly and either fax or mail that into the agency. And you would just want to seek work with 2 employers per week. And there's a lot of different ways that you can then seek work. I'm sure there's lots of different online sites, lots of different employers.
A lot of people come into Michigan Works and will complete a job search, apply for things online, or we actually have posting boards in our Michigan Works offices. They're hot jobs of the day, and those things are getting listed. They can apply directly to different employers, fill out their job search form, and then fax it directly from the Michigan Works office to the unemployment office.
Okay. Caller from Cadillac. Can a housekeeper draw unemployment after their job is terminated?
Well, it's possible that a housekeeper can draw unemployment benefits. One of the first things we would look at is when the claim was filed, we would look to see if that employer already had an unemployment account number.
Okay.
If they did, the claim would be filed and we would just need the minimum quarterly earnings to qualify for that claim. If the employer didn't have a UIA account number already, there's other things we can do to review that employer's business and determine whether or not they would be liable under unemployment law. So it's certainly possible.
Okay. A caller from Mount Pleasant wants to know, the company offers a voluntary layoff, 3-month layoff, which is temporary. Are they still qualified for unemployment benefits?
Yes, I can't imagine a reason why they would not. If they're offering a layoff, as long as you monetarily are eligible to establish a claim, there would be no reason that you couldn't receive unemployment benefits. You would just want to make sure that you're registered with Michigan Works Agency, doing your work searches, and certifying biweekly for your payments.
Okay. Caller from Grosse Pointe is an IT professional for 3 to 5 years, unemployed for several years, in his 50s, gets a lot of interviews but seems to be discriminated. Is there a way to prevent this?
Ageism in the marketplace, again, is hard to prove. A lot of times depends on how current his work experience is. Maybe he, because he's been out of the marketplace again, working for 2-3 years, his skills may be kind of rusty. He may not have the most recent kind of technology background. He might want to take a class at a community college or something to kind of brush himself up a little bit to then reapply. He can also tell them that his salary level is able to be negotiated, because he may have to step back on the ladder a few rungs payment-wise for what he was making before. And maybe the employer is not sure that he's able to do that.
Okay. Caller from Shelby Township, worked for 19 years with UAW, is going to be fired, discharged, doesn't get along with boss, will be eligible for 26 weeks and 25 weeks of extension, makes $1,600 every 2 weeks. How much would he or she get in benefits?
The maximum in unemployment benefits is currently 20 weeks and $362 per week. And so that would be the maximum, even though this individual has a higher end of pay than a lot of folks, including myself. Sure. It sounds like, that the maximum would be $362 per week.
Okay, we got just about a minute left here. Real quick, caller from Davison. Eligible for unemployment benefits, possibly moving to California. Will I still be eligible if I move? Yes. As long as you have the sufficient earnings to establish a claim, moving would not disqualify you from receiving those 20 weeks of benefits and a maximum $362 per week. Okay, all right. Well, that about does it for us. We need to wrap it up right now. Thank you both for being here this evening. We really appreciate it. And thank you at home for calling in. We would not be able to do this without your support at home. From all of us here at CMU Public Television, I'm Stephanie Mills. Have a great night.